Those of you who are in the military, those of you who have family members in the military, those of you who care about the military, I want you to listen to me very, very carefully. There is no reason if there's a government shutdown that military personnel shouldn't be paid and paid on time. Big Government's Mike Flynn, via Hot Air, he writes that during the 1995 shutdown, the Clinton administration followed the Office of Management and Budget guidance issued during the Reagan administration. The Obama administration, it seems, is taking a different tack. He writes, let me be clear, the guidelines proposing to hold military paychecks are, according to news reports, draft guidelines. It is possible the Obama administration has abandoned these punitive guidelines, and even if they implemented these guidelines, military personnel would most likely eventually receive their pay. But his more important point is that when the government was shut down in 95 and during the Reagan administration twice, they were not going to hold back pay to the military. That military personnel were to be paid and paid on time. It appears to be a discretionary issue with this administration. And so the question is, why won't Barack Obama today announce to all the military families out there that he's going to make sure, through the power of the presidency as commander-in-chief, that they will be paid and paid on time? And the House Republicans are concerned that he won't. And so they have included in this continuing resolution, in addition to $12 billion in cuts, funding for the United States Armed Forces to the end of the year. And one of those who has spearheaded this effort is a friend of mine, Congressman Louie Gohmert. How are you, my friend?
Well, I'm doing well, but I mean, to hear you call me a friend, Mark, you made my day, because I sure consider you a friend, man. You're a friend to America. But yes, it has been exceedingly frustrating. It's in the CR that the military, the entire military, is funded through the end of September. As you know, the military is considered essential. They're going to serve. The problem is, if the administration doesn't get after it, they don't get paid. But now we have in the CR the full funding for the military, but of course the president has said he's vetoing that. Harry Reid said it's not even going to come for a vote in the Senate. And so that's step one. Well, step one would be the president could order them paid, and that would be taken care of. Step two is it's in the CR today. The military is fully funded through the end of September. And then if they're saying that's not going to work because they don't like some of the other things in there, like $12 billion in cuts. But then the third, and this should take care of anybody, but we have a bill in the House, it's 1297, and in the Senate it's 724, S724 in the Senate, HR 1297 in the House, and it says, it's not a discretionary thing. It says that the Secretary of the Treasury, working in conjunction with the Secretary of Defense, shall pay the military members and the reserve members, and they get full pay and allowance on time. Now, when they're essential and they're going to work anyway, they'd get paid after a shutdown. But talking to enough people on active duty, it's like it was 30 years ago when I was in the Army. A lot of folks live paycheck to paycheck, and the last thing we need is somebody worrying in the front lines while they're being shot at that their wife's not going to be able to make, or their husband's not going to be able to make the payment to keep the car or whatever's necessary.
Congressman Louie Gohmert, hold on. Let me just ask you a couple of things. Yeah. So the president, as I've looked at this and researched this, as Reagan did and Clinton did, they can make the decision on their own to make sure that these men and women who are serving in uniform are paid and paid on time, so there's no change whatsoever.
That's right.
He apparently isn't prepared to do that. Then you guys and gals, you pass this part of the continuing resolution to make sure that the United States Armed Forces is funded to the end of the year. You are opposed by the vast majority of Democrats in the House, in the Senate. The president says he's going to veto it because they don't like all your $12 billion, a measly $12 billion. That offends them. And then finally, there's a separate piece of legislation, which you all are trying to get passed. That's going nowhere. So the Democrats have really exposed themselves on this. They want people in pain. They want people suffering. They want them to beg the government for their livelihood? Isn't that really what's going on here?
Well, I don't know if they really want them suffering like that. I think they just want to be able to blame Republicans for all suffering that may occur. I don't know if you saw Bob Gates' quote, but he said, as a historian, it always occurred to me that a smart thing for a government was always to pay the guy with guns first. I thought that was good, and I hope the president will take his advice. These are the guys that ought to be paid first. They're out there between us and no country, and so it ought to be done. The president could do it. The Democrats could do it, but that's where we are right now. This is being seen as a political football. I think the Democrats, especially in the Senate, really believe they win a shutdown. And so they're not really that interested in agreeing when they really believe that a shutdown gets them the political push to get ready for 2012, to take back the House. And some of us care more about taking care of this country than we do which party is in power.
I believe this is going to backfire on them. I believe the American people have had enough of this crap, to be perfectly honest with you. I believe once the United States military personnel understand that they're being played here by this president and by his party. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Congressman, regardless of what they think of the $12 billion in cuts. $12 billion we're talking about, a 3.6 some odd trillion.
Yeah.
If the president had a heart, I'm saying this, you don't have to. If he had a heart, he would put out he's making statements all the time about all kinds of stupid stuff. If he had a heart, he'd put out a statement right now. Those of you who are serving in the United States military, I, as your commander-in-chief, I will ensure that no matter what happens Friday at midnight, you will be paid. You will be paid on time. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for putting your life on the line. And then move on. But he can't do it. He won't do it.
Well, one of the first things they teach you in military science when you're in training is that the morale of your troops is critically important. And I realize he's never had military science. I don't think they got that in the community organizing course, but
pretty close,
he has got to take care of the morale of our troops. You don't want them worrying about whether or not they're going to get paid to defend this country.
All right, Congressman. I know you've been working hard on this issue in particular, and we really appreciate it. God bless you, my
Jack
friend.
Kingston, a lot of folks, John Carter, there's so many that are really doing a great job. KBH. Oh, by the way, in the Senate, they've got 40-something people signed on already as co-sponsors of this bill. They're ready to go, but it's going to take Democrats in the Senate and Obama signing it and getting it. We should be able to get it through the House. But it's ready to go. We can get them paid if the president's not going to make the declaration on his own.
All right, my friend. You take care.
Thank you so much, Mark. You're just a fantastic American. Thank you.
Well, so are you. You keep at it. We really appreciate you. He's a remarkable person, a really decent human being. Congressman Louie Gohmert there. Now, listen to me, folks. With a simple signature, the president can ensure that our military personnel, who are already at enormous risk, both personal and financial, and sacrifice so much, and so do their families, will be protected financially with a signature. And he won't do it. Reagan did it. Clinton did it. But Obama won't do it. Now, why do you think that is? Because he wants military families, many of whom already have loved ones serving in combat on the battlefield overseas, upset. He wants them upset. So they will call members of Congress demanding trillions in dollars in red ink. This is what Saul Alinsky Marxists do. I do not believe that this president has sufficient respect for the American armed forces. I never have believed it. Just like I don't believe he has sufficient respect for law enforcement. But this damn well proves it. I'm not a politician. I'm not running for anything. I can cut through the bull crap and get right to the core of it. As bad as it got in 1981 and 84, with Reagan battling the Democrats in Congress, as bad as Clinton was, they protected the armed forces when it came to their income. And this president won't lift a finger. Congress should not even have to put a rider on this continuing resolution to make sure the United States Armed Forces are funded to the end of this fiscal year. They shouldn't even have to do it. How does this man look himself in the mirror? He sends our armed forces all over the world. There they are, off the shore of Tripoli, firing missiles under NATO command into Libya, and he won't make sure that they're paid? What kind of commander-in-chief is that? Moreover, what kind of president is that? Well, I don't like this spending. Shut up. It has nothing to do with that. You can fight all that other stuff, but protect the warriors. Oh, and as for these riders, you hear these Democrats say, well, we just want a clean bill. This is Washington speak. We want a clean continuing resolution. None of these riders, you know. Well, Politico's reporting in 2009, when they had these spending bills, massive spending bills, Pelosi and Obama made sure they were loaded up with riders, having nothing to do with specific spending issues. All kinds of riders, one after another. But all of a sudden, no riders, shut down the government, and especially punish the United States Armed Forces. Let me underscore what I'm saying. They are going out of their way to hurt our military, because our military can be funded, even in a government shutdown. If our military personnel are not essential as opposed to non-essential, then what the hell is? Some jerk GS4 in the bowels of the Environmental Protection Agency, sitting there in his boxer shorts, picking his nose, trying to run America? That's essential? Or some 23-year-old on the battlefield carrying 50 pounds on his back with an automatic weapon in some hellhole in Afghanistan, waiting for some piece of crap to lift up his head so he can get a shot at him. Now let me ask you, which is more essential? Well, Barack Obama's decided that the former's more essential. He calls this a distraction. That's because his salary goes unaffected if the government shuts down. He still makes a salary. He still flies around on Air Force One. He still has his chef making his favorite meals for him. Michelle's still out there in the organic garden having a hell of a time. They are completely unaffected. Oh, yeah, if they shut this baby down, we're going to see it all. You libs, you're going to expose yourselves, and you know it.